So after years of studying and passing a lot of board exams, I've been asked by a lot of students about study tips to help them with their own journey of becoming a doctor. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my 5 top tips for studying which helped me do well in my exams in medical school. Let's get into it. Tip number 1 is be intentional. When you're studying, you have to create a goal from the beginning. You can visualize yourself passing all your exams, and even more than that, you may even want to get the top marks. And from that goal, you have to work your way backwards. So for example, you want to get in the top 10 of your class. Now, what do you have to do to get there? What are the steps that you have to take that will take you closer and closer to what you want to achieve? So maybe you can sort through the different books, notes, and past exams for each subject, and maybe make a checklist so that you'll be able to go through all the must-read resources that has been suggested by the people years above you who already took the exam and passed. Tip number 2 is to do a lot of sample exams or past papers. This advice works because it's a way of doing active recall or practicing retrieval of information from your memory. And the more effort you exert when you're recalling the information when you're answering the past exams, the stronger the learning and the better the retention. And think about it, the people who will be creating your exam will be the same people who created the past exams that you have with you now. And so you can to some extent predict what questions they will ask in your exam by going through and answering those past exams. Tip number 3 is scope out the subject, which means that we have to first make a list of the components of the subject that we are going to study, so that we get to see how something like a disease entity, a lab test, or a drug will ultimately fit into the broader clinical picture. This also helps us to keep track of the progress we've made, and it also gives us the momentum to keep moving forward, and it also tells us how much more work we have to do. Tip number 4 is find your knowledge gaps. This is very important because when I was a medical student, I tend to put more time into studying the topics that I'm more comfortable with or the things that I already know more about. But you have to know that this will not be beneficial for you in the long run, because the mistakes that you will make in the exam are probably from the topics that you didn't give more time to review. But as you study your weak points more and more, you will soon find out that they too will come up in the exam, and you will have answered them correctly, and you will then get higher scores. Now, tip number 5 is exercise and sleep. If you don't want your physical and mental health to suffer, don't sacrifice sleep and exercise for studying. Believe me, when I was just starting out in medical school, I took pride in studying all day, in pulling all-nighters several days a week, and of course it took a toll on my physical and mental health. But luckily, I soon found out that there are healthier and more sustainable ways of studying, and it involved going out for a run every morning, even if there's a big exam that day. I also fixed my sleeping schedule to 7 to 8 hours every night, ever since I learned that sleeping improves memory by helping in its consolidation and transforming short-term to long-term memory. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more tips for studying in medical school, check out this video over here where I talked about the 5 things I wished I knew before I started medical school. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.